Now, to remind everyone, we are now living in a time in which we must force everyone to live in the UK by force. we,
By my plan, by 2050, every single human being on Earth will be living in Brighton in a massive meat ball.
I have a Conservative MP to campaign on this issue, as you can see. He's quite proud of his graph, which is showing, of course, that there used to be normal British migration, and then, the post-war period.
Look, negative.
Yeah.
It used to be emigration.
And then it was fairly normal for the 80s, when things were good in this country. And then, the 90s happened, and then something happened. And you got a crisis. And now it's just been madness.
Wait, so you can consistently run at somewhere around the minus 50,000 a year for decades?
When we had that giant world-spanning empire that kept winning wars?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's when we had net emigration. And when we lost that,
now we're a sad island that can barely afford the heat.
We had outflows into the mid-80s.
Yeah.
This is the context that's never really provided. You may remember a lot of graphs from the BBC sort of start around about 2000s because they want you to think that's normal. That's the normalization process there. It's not. And the problem with the UK is not one of even crime or financial effects of mass migration making life worse for the natives.
They are bad things.
Those are just extras.
Oh.
The real problem for the UK is,
of course, just features.
Yeah. The real problem is civilizational. I mean, the fact that you can no longer buy a house is bad. But even if you could, there is literally, if you roll the dice, a 0% chance that by the time you're retiring, that place will still be an English neighborhood that you moved into. It will have gone.
And just as a quick thing here, let's just admire the chutzpah of Neil O'Brien here. To be like, so the Conservatives have done the worst on immigration that has ever been done historically. I'm just going to tweet that graph out. I'm personally going to tweet out the catastrophic failure and betrayal of the Conservatives to the British people and be like, vote for us.
Oh, as long as the PM does something, trust me.
It's unbelievable that you would show this graph in public.
Yeah.
Like, it's on your Twitter feed, Neil.
But I still stand by my policy before we go forward that the actual fixing of the country could be done in one fell swoop, which is women only. And you will actually fix every single issue, all those extras, the crime stuff, that literally disappears overnight.
Yeah.
And also the visible numbers, half immediately, and then go lower than half, because the women usually come with their men, in which case we actually do return to the emigration situation, but the inflow is just women.
And we're good feminists.
And we can get the feminists on board.
Hi folks, sorry to interrupt the video, but I just wanted to announce that we have a new line of merch in our merch store. The merch store was kind of empty for a while, and so I thought, right, okay, what do I actually want on shirts? And so I just went through some of the most epic and true things that I think that historical people have said, and John managed to make an amazing set of merch out of it. And we will have extra things coming in the store, such as posters for these to go on. Thanks for everything, folks. Now back to the video.
We went over, the Conservatives came out and said we're going to do a thing. And the thing they said they're going to do, and this is where I want to focus, is they said they're going to change, if you want a skilled workers visa, you used to have to earn £26,200. Isn't that much for a skilled worker, I would have thought. And they say they're increasing that to £38,700. And a lot of people think, okay, that's the thing.
To be fair, but what are you skilled in? I mean, presumably turning up to work and not crapping yourself. I mean,
what does it matter? If you're worth so much money, it doesn't matter what you do as long as you're actually producing that much wealth. And but the question becomes, I mean, is that actually a level that's skilled? Because we can just look at the inflation rate. Because, of course, back when this bill was passed and it was set at 28K.
Oh, really?
Today, 28K back when this bill was passed is actually 34. So we're 4,000 out from this being exactly the same as it was in 2020.
Oh, God, I can just feel the knife just digging deeper from the Tory betrayal. This is so much worse.
But
I know I talk about inflation a lot, but it even shocks me. January 2020 to now, the value of 34K has gone down to 26.
Yeah, so keep in mind as well, we still have 4 months to go, or 5 months, until this change even turns into effect, because it's in spring it comes in. So that's another 4 months. So actually, we will probably be worse off. It'll actually be easier to get to the country than before, because the 38 grand cap is actually like 25 before. So do keep that in mind.
I'm so glad I got a large mortgage, which is being debased by this inflation.
But what I love about this is like the Tories are like, yeah, we're gonna make it harder for people to get in. Actually, it becomes easier. We're gonna get fewer people in this, and actually, no, it's still gonna be essentially double of what it was before. It's just like everything is a lie. Everything they're saying is a lie.
And you might think, okay, well, at least wages aren't growing that much. So even if the inflation happens, it's well, not quite. I mean, here's the weekly earnings in the United Kingdom, and you can go check out the data yourself on from the ONS, in which they say that 23.7% increase in wages in that same time period. So we're looking at an average pay cut of about 5.2% for most people in this country over that time period. So it is slightly slowed down compared to inflation, but not by much.
And the reason those figures are like that is because the public sector got a big pay increase. So
Yes,
when you average it out, it's a lot worse if you're in the private sector.
but not everyone got that pay increase. We'll get back to them.
But one day everyone's going to work for the NHS, so it'll be okay.
Yes. In Brighton.
Yeah,
the
in
entire
Brighton,
world
in
is
the
gonna work
meatball,
for the
yeah.
NHS in Brighton.
But here's just before we go forward, so we have something in our minds. So the median full-time income is £32,700, according to the ONS for April 2023. Now, of course, that inflation rate is so it's hard to tell what that is now, especially by April 2024.
Yeah.
But the point being, that increase is not really real. Like, it's just the money terms, it's actually not really a change. In fact, it may be better off for people trying to come here than before. And this is one of the big issues, of course, that comes to wage stagnation, which is you're bringing mass numbers of people.
Yeah.
And coincidentally, this is according to The Guardian here, a far right outlet, that says that since 2015, the average worker in the UK is 11 grand worse off a year because for some reason, something happened in the 1990s, and ever since, there's been unprecedented wage stagnation. We are still investigating, but for some reason, we haven't found out the cause.
I swear to God, I'm going to put that on a T-shirt just with the immigration graph.
Something happened.
Something happened in 1997.
And this is where we get to the responses to this news, which I think are the really funniest thing to come out of all of this. Because, of course, those people don't know what an inflation calculator is. They don't know what percentage point is. So they don't know anything about wages. They're just living their lives, mostly academics. And, well, we can see them, such as Sadiq Khan over here, who decided to respond to this by closing off his comments. You can't talk back to the dear leader. He says that one of the reasons London is the greatest city in the world, oh, come on, come on, at least try, is because of successive generations of immigrants. Yes.
If it wasn't for the immigrants, London would suck.
Yeah, people would.
Yeah, in 1880s, I mean, London was just, some second-rate backwater.
In the
wasn't it?
1970s. You know, like... It...
Whereas now, everyone loves London. No one ever wants to visit it if they can.
I love this. This latest wrong-headed attack on migration from the Tories will only harm our city and country, economically, culturally, and socially. Oh,
almost
please.
everyone I know in London has moved out.
But also Sadiq Khan's, if we can't have 750,000 net and only 445,000 net, then that's London destroyed. Oh, shut up, Sadiq.
Yes.
But to keep in mind, if you actually play with the numbers there, you'll find out that their plan will do zero. So you will still get the 700k net.
Yeah.
But no, London is finished by nothing happening. We have Bella over here, who's apparently someone significant in the Conservative Party. You may remember her being quite upset that there are so many Palestine supporters in London. She hasn't figured out why. But she's very upset as well, as you can see here. Quite possibly one of the most damaging and economically illiterate policy announcements of the Conservative
this
government.
was the woman who was like, oh my God, look at all these Hamas supporters marching through London, when like 100,000 of them marched in London after they massacred a bunch of Israelis. And she was like, oh my God, this is terrible.
Yes, well, she wants more of them.
I've chosen not to follow this account. I'm not.
Well, I don't follow her either, but I just remember seeing her posting that.
She's a good example for the London conservative types,
Just
the global
unbelievable.
nomads who do have somewhere else to go once they're done with this place.
Yeah.
And she probably will be. And this moves on because there's a lady who's
But hang on, so it's just, sorry, damaging an economically illiterate policy. Where's the growth? Where's the growth?
point
Where's the growth? 2 million new fucking immigrants in the last 2 years. Where's the growth? Where is the growth? You are not correct on economics. You do not know what you're talking about. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I know you don't know what you're talking about. Sorry. It's just really annoying me.
can't find the growth, lads. It's just not about.
Just where is it? It's just like, it would literally be, it would be an industrial job to get more immigrants in. Like, I imagine the airlines just like, look, we're running at capacity.
But I mean, it's perfectly measurable because in the 1980s there was a 2% increase in the adult working population per year, and you could see it feed through into the increased GDP figures.
Yeah.
So if you have native-born Brits and an increase of them, it does lead to a corresponding increase in GDP.
Yes.
But you can basically use the same measures on the immigration that we've had since 1997, and it does not lead to an increase in. It's perfectly measurable.
Don't know why she's allowed to talk, but anyway.
I love how it's such a civilizational thing as well. Like just your point there about the sheer amount of work it takes to move that amount of people. The only historical comparisons I can think of is basically sort of World War II era, like the outflowing of Kaliningrad and then inflowing of Russians.
Well, there are loads of examples.
But just the absolute numbers we're dealing with,
Yeah.
it really is the kind of situation of redrawing national borders.
Well, you know,
But that's just the norm.
the Goths who stormed the Western Roman Empire, they reckon there were about 600,000 of them. Brought down the entire Western Roman Empire.
It's 1 year's worth.
No, that's not 1 year's worth. That's 6 months worth.
Yeah,
That's
that
not-
is.
That's 6 months worth of those people, just so you know.
But to remind ourselves,
Slightly off topic, but do you know why the teenagers who dress in black borrowed the name?
I thought you were going to tell me.
No. Tell us
You
in the
have no
comments
idea.
if you know.
But you have no idea.
but as I laid out, basically nothing will happen if the economics are going to play out as they have for the last few months, which is the inflation rate is so high that this actually means zero. But this didn't stop a lot of people being very personally attacked for some reason. And this following one, as I was mentioning, is a lady that blew up, but she's deleted this thread now because of the amount of responses she got. Laura here. Now, Laura has decided to tell us that she has 2 master's degrees from top British universities, including one that won a prestigious award. I've lived here for years.
You have to go back.
My visa is up in 2 years, and I won't qualify under these rules. I'm sick to my stomach right now.
Wait. She's got 2 master's degrees and doesn't earn 38 grand a year.
Nope.
What?
So what the hell are the 2 degrees in? Like
Yeah, exactly.
medieval midwifery and nutrition pottery or something? I mean,
Exactly. What is she doing with it? Like,
I did have a look through. I couldn't physically find what she had done with her life. Because what I could find from her threads is that she mostly just goes on holiday. She if you
yeah, she definitely has to go
Ah.
back, man.
she's like recently been to Cyprus to hang out, and then to Italy, and then to France, and then to Greece. And this is like over months of me scrolling through her timeline. I'm like,
She
what are
spent
you
less
doing
time
with
in
her?
England than Richard the Lionheart. Like,
Yeah,
what is she complaining about?
hates the
Okay.
British as much. She just would rather be anywhere else. But no, we're evil for saying she can't come here. Right. Anyway, Yankee, go home is the correct response to her, I think. The responses are just a laugh because, as you can see, she limited her account.
Yeah.
But everyone is just like, and this was her bio, by the way.
Law by day, activism by night, all from abroad. Yeah, good on you, Maximus.
That's actually her bio.
Oh, God.
She literally just talks about migrant rights,
Yeah.
getting people in, past lives, a million flags.
Oh, my God.
Because of course.
The global cosmopolitan. Like, I'm not allowed to live in Britain anymore. You don't live here anyway. Piss off.
And but she got like 1 million views on this thread before
Yeah.
she decided to hide it. Bye. It's just time to go. Yeah, I mean, you're not very useful if
you
Oh,
you
that's
do
mention
fine.
have a good
That's-
dog pile, don't you? I mean, this is-
Good, pack your bags.
Yeah, I mean, I do love the idea though that this just really explodes the lie that is university in general, which we take our female population, lie to them that trust me, it's good for you to be in university studying nothing for no money at the end of the tunnel, and then they go and do it, and then they're Pikachu face surprised that
I-
this didn't work out.
So I want
I
to be
just-
I want to be very clear that I'm not being sexist, but we are definitely overeducating women.
But not only that.
well,
like,
miseducating them.
the-
There is
yeah.
no education involved.
think back to the previous segment with the Pakistani mother of 8 who was getting 100K. Like,
Whereas Laura here can't even get 38.
Yeah, exactly. Just saying who's really winning at life.
Pakistani
Right?
mum's just like, yeah, get lost.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got 8 kids. Suck it, Laura.
Laura's taxes are paying for her kids. I mean,
You need 5 Lauras to fund one Izzy.
it's not Missy, it's Missy's mum.
It just is brilliant
I just-
how this place works.
oh, God, this country is such a joke.
Because when you actually sit down and take a look at this stuff, you know, it really is just comical how badly run this island is. And she's not the only one that was very, very upset. This other her, as she describes herself, was very upset. My job as a research fellow at one of the world's best universities, a requirement of which is a doctorate, pays less than this. And so, on this definition, I am an unskilled worker
I agree.
and I wouldn't be allowed into the country. This system is utterly ridiculous.
Very based.
No, the system that isn't utterly ridiculous is where you are so unskilled, we can't really pay you anything. So we just sit you in the university somewhere doing bollocks.
So, Dan, I'm not an economist, right? But I always perceived the amount you earn as a representative figure of the value you contribute to society.
Yeah.
Right. So if you contribute a great deal of value, you earn lots of money, and that's
Monetary value.
yeah, monetary value. So
Yeah.
if you've got like a bunch of PhDs and master's degrees and you can't even break 38K, then what actual value are you adding to the economy?
Well, Carl.
Yeah, well, exactly.
She has a science and religion degree, a philosophy and religion degree, and a philosophy of time degree.
Amazing.
Philosophy of time.
Yeah, I don't know.
Amazing.
I don't know. She, her, in case you're wondering. Yeah, no wonder. No wonder. You literally don't do anything. We
So
send you
there
to
is a
university.
really interesting thing was where if you start adding in extra dimensions because of the squared law, inverse square law, gravity drops off quicker and therefore time dilation takes place. I bet it's not that.
Because here's the real thing when it comes to your salaries. It's actually not to do with how much you provide to society. That's only really true when you're dealing with businessmen who can provide something like Amazon, which saves so much time that when you scale it on a large basis, you suddenly become a billionaire. It's mental. What your job salary really corresponds to is to how difficult it is to get rid of you. How quickly could we replace you?
Yeah.
That's really what it means for most people.
So I'm thinking of like, the average plumber or electrician who earns like 80 or 90 grand a year.
Yeah, because replacing him isn't easy.
But also he contributes that amount of value to society. Like people demand his service.
And I'm filming a Brokenomics later on Hoflation. We might change the title because that's possibly insensitive. But that's one of the data points
reality?
I looked at. Is like women want a man who earns more.
Yeah.
But if he earns considerably more by being a plumber or something, and they've got a master's degree, they're like, no,
I don't like it.
They don't go for that at all.
This is why Emily over here thinks she's better than everyone else in the respect of I've got
But
degrees.
she can't even get into the country.
But she is utterly replaceable because you have a philosophy of time degree. I could replace you with literally a McDonald's worker. And we would have more money at the end of it. More wealth would be made. More time would not be wasted. Anyway, I mean, we are going to miss out on her lectures, though, such as this one.
More service to society as well.
This is her at the University of Edinburgh. She's giving a lecture on exploring freedom and identity in Everton quantum mechanics. Now, I did a physics degree. I don't know what that means. I don't know how there is identity in quantum mechanics.
I love the idea that there are many worlds, this theory that there are other worlds than there are ours, and somehow we've got a moral responsibility to them. It's like, no, they might be fictional.
But I'm sorry, to get to the nub of it, like, we have someone who has a philosophy of time degree telling us about quantum mechanics. Replaceable with a clock. Literally just a clock would serve more purpose than your work, from what I can see of it. And this is not a unique circumstance that we've now seen two academic women. We have more of them. This person here, a Colombian. Wow, the ruling UK party just decided it wants to self-sabotage its academic sector. Yes, because it needs breaking. There is so much fat that needs cutting and so much waste of time that just needs tearing apart in the academic sector. That yes, indeed. If we have people who literally have a philosophy of time degree getting paid anything, yeah, I'd like to sabotage that. I'd like to stop doing any of that, please, if we could. And talking of this academic here, you want to guess? Had a lot of she-hers?
Yeah, of course.
Well, this one, as you can see, trans flag, homosexual flag.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Okay, fantastic.
Well, great. I mean, self-sabotage the academic sector then.
Yeah, I mean, what will we do without them? Such as,
Health economist.
this health economist was on a Ukraine march with a trans flag and a...
Colombian alien somewhere in the UK. Oh.
Yeah, okay. I don't know what we'll do without them. We'll just have to live. Anyway, let's go to an NGO worker who has something to say. I feel physically sick. My right to live with my husband and my children's right to live with their dad is conjugant on me earning 38 grand. This is an increase of 20 grand overnight.
Yeah.
That's not even true.
But let's assume that it is.
No, but her circumstances, that doesn't make any sense, love. Because if you had kids with a British person, one of you is British, they've got blood rights. So, in that conversation, also she, her just noticed, God. But you yourself should be able to get a marriage visa, or should have done already if you've had 2 kids. So I don't know. I'm sorry, you're either lying or you've just been
I just don't think they know how it works, even though they are literally a migrants' rights charity worker.
Well, they say policy and public affairs management at Praxis projects. Oh, great. I love leftist terms in your job title. Thought to mind she, her. Okay. Should we take a look at Praxis?
Yeah, let's do it.
Here we are. Migrants and refugees need your support this winter.
Listen, I've seen just too many TikToks of them throwing my money onto the floor of their hotel room to think that.
Here at Praxis, we work with all people who have been migrated to the UK to live safely, free from positive. They sound like free range chickens.
God, they do.
I mean, they really are just. Why do you write like this? They live free on free from poverty, discrimination, plenty of grass. They have no lack of compassion or respect given by the farmers.
So can I do a quick callback? Because while you were doing that bit, I asked ChatGPT what a philosophy of time degree was.
All right.
So I got an answer now. Right. This involves questions about the existence of time. Is it a fundamental part of the universe or a social construct?
I've had my time wasted again. Even ChatGPT is letting me down here. Like, I'm sorry, but like even the conversation of the philosophy of time, go away.
I'm not entirely surprised you can't even break 38 grand.
Yeah, like unless
Because who's going to pay for that?
Yeah, exactly.
like the only thing you could even there is no philosophy of time. There is just reality. I'm sorry, but just to go on a rant real quick. But the only thing that's interesting about time is when you go to the speed of light. And then all kind of weird things happen. You know what happens up there? Not a single philosopher is there talking to us about the Lorentz formula. It's a bunch of physicists figuring out whether or not you can actually time travel.
The Tau effect or something, yeah.
Like I just fuck off. So, genuinely makes me angry to see people talking about physics term when they've got nothing to do with that realm. It's a bit of a, STEM madness over here. Anyway, getting to the NHS again, because we were talking earlier about how that is the real victim of this new law, which is...
Oh, yeah, the NHS, which is about 20% foreign worker in a country that's about 25% foreign.
90% foreign worker.
Oh, 19%. Yeah. So if it wasn't for all the foreigners in the NHS, the NHS would collapse.
Well, this is where the real, shot yourself in the face moment came out of the response to this. Because this lady tweeted about current NHS starting salaries: junior doctor 32k, nurse 38, paramedic 38, midwife 38, and it goes on to make the point that basically that is true, which is that health workers in the UK are massively underpaid compared to any other part of the Anglosphere. It's why the British ones leave as soon as they can, and rightfully so, because you get paid well for your work. But can you think of a reason why, since the 1990s, healthcare workers have had their wages massively suppressed?
I'm guessing it's something to do with the fact that there's a limited amount of budget for the NHS that has to cover people who have not yet contributed to the budget of the NHS.
Well, I'm more thinking if I need to hire a nurse and I've got 200,000 Nigerians, she will work for less.
So
we will literally just...
That and PFI and immigration.
But where's the demand coming from?
But this is what I mean in this specific instance, the shoot yourself in the foot aspect of this, where it's like, damn, if we lower immigration, we'll have to raise salaries. Yeah. Yes, truly terrible. What was your point, lady? Speaking of which, though, if we enjoy these low salaries, if we think that's a better world, well, we do have some evidence to the contrary came out recently. I love this guy. Just the immigrants in the care center.
Yes.
Dementia sufferer at 91 died, becoming trapped in a stair lift when the foreign care staff couldn't understand the difference between the words breathing and bleeding.
Yeah, I looked at this. This is because they literally couldn't speak English.
So we could massively undercut British nurses and doctors, so we can hire someone from Bongoland who can't speak English because they're slightly cheaper. Or we could just raise salaries.
I don't think I'm supposed to laugh at the meme from on the side there.
I love good Rutger.
Yeah.
What's your emergency? We find this man in the breathing. You found a man breathing. I'm making you think him breathing very big. He's breathing. And this man not bleeding. All right. There we are. Average conversation amongst NHS workers. But just to end this off.
But again, just the only reason the NHS is under these massive pressures is literally because the fact that the Conservatives let 1 million new people in a year.
Yeah. But to end it off, just a normal person, I think, comes to the conversation. Suella.
Oh, yeah.
Who recently resigned because she was sick of
No, she was fired.
Yeah, she was fired, actually, for saying that she, I don't know, didn't
She was fired because she was saying things that the average British person supports.
Well, such as this. An annual cap should be set on the number of visas.
Yep.
This is something we've floated for a long time. I'm glad she said it. And it is something that needs to be said every single day until it is implemented. And then afterwards made some kind of constitutional amendment, which we write a constitution, and the first article and only article is the cap. It takes a 90% majority in Parliament to overturn it. But anyway, there we are, which is
So I don't mean to hijack the end of your segment, but can we play what I think is the solution?
This is Dan's solution to the problem, which is very Dan.
It's actually Ali G's solution, but I like it as well.
Can't just let them all in, cripple the economy.
Ah, yes, Ali.
Let's think about this, right? What is the main thing we ain't got enough of in this country?
Hospitals.
No.
Libraries.
Behave. We ain't got enough fit women. And we've got too many mingers. No offense, Karen. So, why don't we just let in all the fit refugees and turn away all the rank ones? That way we solve both problems. We is knobbing two birds with one Connie, innit?
This is ludicrous.
What do you think? I think we should keep it real.
Fit. 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 Wait. Back to Slovenia.
I mean, it would work. Perfectly reasonable government.
It is in line with your feminist immigration policy, yeah?
It would indeed.
No.
But anyway,
That's fair. Right.
I'll move on. Can I
So-
just say something real quick
Oh, God then.
onto that? Because just a funny story. I was in Poland, and apparently this happened, which is that, of course, they got all the Ukrainian refugees. And running up to the election, there was a moment in which the Ukrainian girls were being discriminated against by Polish girls who didn't like the Ukrainians were hotter. So what happened is the Ukrainian girls in Polish started doing TikToks and got this trending in Poland, which is, I may be a refugee, but I'm still hotter than you. And then as a result, there was a shift in the polls in which 20-something Polish women massively started voting right-wing all of a sudden. I was talking to my friend who works in Polish politics. It was like, man, we were trying to capitalize on it, but just no one did enough job. So
It will get the feminists on board.
if you appreciated that segment from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content that's on the site, such as the Epoch series, this episode on the Anglo-Zulu War. And if you'd like to find out what else is being put out, you can follow Lotus Eaters on Twitter at lotuseaters_com on Twitter. Thank you and goodbye.